Welcome to the Home Building Hub, your essential podcast guide to building your new home. Hosted by industry experts Colin Bischoff and Darren Brennan, this conversational podcast will help better educate you about all things new home building so you can avoid costly mistakes and enjoy your building experience to the fullest, no matter which home builder you choose.
Hey guys, before we kick off on the episode, I want to introduce you to a new phase of the Home Building Hub. We have decided to go back to school, that is SKOOL. We've created a community based on the back of a podcast we've been running for so long now. We've created a community for you, for all home buyers to jump in and get access to a whole range of tools, checklists, information, and most importantly, find other home buyers in there so you can follow people's journeys, you can share your own journey, and we're excited to build the most trusted community that is independent and objective in the whole country. So get in there, it's skoolschool.com. Look up Home Building Hub, download the app, come and say hi, and we will see you in there. Hey there, folks. Welcome to the Home Building Hub. You're with Colin and co-host Darren Brennan as always. And today, Dazza, let's talk a little bit about a little thing called acoustics. Acoustic Overlay, if you're anywhere near it, basically is revolving around sound and making sure that you don't hear all the trains and the highway traffic coming by your bedroom window. Long story short, isn't it? How you going, Dazza?
Oh, well, mate. Yeah, really well, thank you. Ready to kick into this one. And again, just driven by activities that happen in our own world, I guess, week to week, Colin. And this was one that came up during the week for myself. And we were chatting about it yesterday and thought it's a pretty good topic that we haven't touched on before. So we think this will just, give you a little bit of a guide if you are in a land estate potentially or looking to build near, as you said, a freeway, a train line where it's highlighted that there is acoustic requirements needed. So
yeah. What I will say, Darren, is that we are Victoria centric, so we're going to talk about it from a Victoria perspective. I do understand from my 5 minutes I spent in Queensland years ago that it's pretty common up there, acoustic. I don't know if they call them acoustic overlays, but it was a more prevalent thing in the discussion in quotes. It was quite common. So it might work differently for your state, but basically the point is we want to highlight, hey guys, there's this thing called acoustic overlay. It's basically if you're building your block is too close to noise, there will be an additional cost for you to buffer up the house, to make sure that it's got items that prevent or reduce the noise. And there's certain noise levels that have to be achieved. And that's what this episode's about, just sharing that a little bit. So you don't have to know it technically, but you just understand, okay, if I build too close to something, I'm going to have to pay a little bit more. And this episode is explaining what it is and how it works. Yeah.
I guess it's about the comfort of living in that home, right? So it's about making sure, because in the end, most of the sound isn't that loud that it's going to hurt your ears. But it's about being comfortable, not having to turn the telly up so loud to be able to hear it because the train's driving past next, on the other side of the fence. And it does also touch on things like airports, flight paths, some of those sort of things also pick up acoustics. So sometimes you're like, well, it's not near a highway and it's not near a train line, but the plane flies over the top pretty often, so they do set up some levels of acoustics for that as well. So,
perfect. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of it, Daz. So what is an acoustic overlay?
I guess by definition, it's land identified in a planning overlay due to its proximity to a noise source, and that being rail, freeway, flight path near an airport, could be near an industrial area that's got loud sounds coming from it, etc. So that's sort of, I guess, the nitty-gritty of that. The purpose is to ensure that the home is comfortable and meets a minimum level of internal noise standards. So, it's not talking about if you're in your front yard, you can't stop the noise, but if you're inside the house, you can, and it's making sure that that's at a really comfortable level. Where do you find out if it's applicable, I guess, is the next question. And on your plan of subdivision or in the Section 173 agreement, which will be in your land contract, it will specify if that particular block requires you to meet the acoustic overlay requirements. Generally, the land developer will let you know as well, because it's a little bit trickier on those blocks. I think since the 7-star requirements have come out and a lot of builders are double glazing now and got extra insulation, it's a little bit easier to comply than before, Colin. But it's certainly times gone by. It was this, I guess, bit of a tricky one where not everyone you talk to knew about it. It's a little bit more common these days as well here, not just in Queensland, and so therefore you'll find builders are starting to talk about it more often, or the builders rep can go and have a chat to someone in their office and get you some feedback on that. I guess for clarity, it's a legal requirement, not a builder upgrade. So don't think the builder's trying to set you up on this. It's actually to do with the builder themselves just having to comply with the law. So, and I guess the good example of that is if you lived within 150 metres of a train line with proper acoustic treatment, you can barely hear the train at all. And I can say I live on a main road. We've got double glazing to the front of our home. I don't hear at night. Our bedroom's at the front, and we're on a main road. I don't hear anything. If I go into our bathroom where we keep the window open at night, I do. You can hear traffic, but otherwise, I don't hear it at all. Wouldn't hear a truck. Wouldn't hear a car, unless someone on a motorbike, on a Harley or something goes past like a nut job. You might hear that, but otherwise, it doesn't happen very often.
Job. Yeah.
So, I guess what does it mean to your home design then, Colin? Now that we know all that about why, what, and where, and why.
I think you said before the land developer, so the estate you're thinking of buying from, should tell you, and they probably will. These days, a lot of them actually have documentation that sort of flags it for you, that makes it a little bit easier. Yeah. So let's say they're not all like this, but in theory, some will say, here's a view of our stage, of all the lots in there, and all the ones that are shaded yellow, they're category 1. All the ones that are shaded red, they're category 2, etc. So they're different categories which have different level of requirements. So you want to be able to get that information from where you're buying your block of land, or from your builder who knows that estate and already has access to that information.
On that note, Colin, too, if you're looking at buying a resale lot, sometimes they won't tell you.
No, they won't. No.
Yeah. So you end up buying a block of land and later find out. So again, your conveyancer should be checking that in the land contract, seeing if that comes up. But have a read over the plan of subdivision or the 173 agreement yourself, and it will be clearly noted in there. I must say, I did get a land contract this week on a resale, didn't have a 173 agreement in there, although it referenced the 173 agreement on the plan of subdivision. So we went back to the customer and said, hey, can I get this 173 agreement, of which they've had to go to council to get, but they were unaware that there was this agreement in place and their conveyancer hadn't picked up on it. So, it can be tricky.
It can be. And land contracts are huge. And all this talk about 173 agreement, like you could ask 95% of sales consultants in building what that is, and they wouldn't have no idea. It's just, it's different level of experience that I guess we've been exposed to. We're sharing that with you. So you don't have to know what a 173 agreement is or what an acoustic overlay specific requirement in detail is. We're just flagging that you need to know it can exist. And we want you to ask the question of your developer, of your sales consultant at your builder, hey, is this something I need to look at? That's all. Okay. So sometimes it'll be neat and clean, like a set of design guidelines. It'll accompany that and say, here's the requirement, category 1, category 2, etc. And then the builder will say, okay, category 1, we already meet with a standard plan with a bit of double glazing that we already include. And then category 2 could cost you $5,000, $10,000, category 3, whatever it is. Okay, so they are worded differently, but essentially to achieve the noise requirements, it'll cost you X. It will cost you money. And that resale block suggestion, Darren, is so common, isn't it? Or your thought on that, like people buying blocks of land without knowing any of this stuff. And this is just one thing, let alone all the others that we have explained before as well. So most importantly, understand what it is, and builders then must incorporate the special materials and construction methods to achieve those categories or those acoustic requirements. So things like the roof and the ceiling could be one of the main ones. Thicker insulation, sealed eaves, double plasterboard in some cases as well. Obviously, the walls, so heavy materials could be Hebel or denser bats to really block out that noise. Windows, of course, double glazed, airtight seals, laminated glass, etc. And doors could even need to be upgraded to solid core instead of the hollow ones that are most commonly used. So it's really about, in the words here that Darren's put there, is it's about creating a sound envelope that keeps outside noise um, out of your house, so it's more comfortable to live in. That's
Absolutely.
also, it's for your benefit if you're buying a block within the radius of an acoustic requirement.
And what the builder will also do is organise a individual assessment of your property. It comes at a cost. If I was to throw a number at it, say about $1,500. An engineer will go out there. They'll measure the sound, so they actually go out there with sound meters and measure the sound on your actual block to understand what is then going to be required to meet those minimum standards. And it's done per block, not just off the report. So the builder does need that, and then it will get signed off by your building surveyor in the end. So it's all part of getting a building permit. So to be
Good
mindful of.
point. Very good point.
I guess there's a role for the customer to play in this, Colin. So, always check, as we suggested already, if an acoustic overlay is required. So the 173 agreement, the plan of subdivision, you can check that yourself. So that's on you before finalising your home design. Because again, the last thing you want to do is find out, I've hit my budget, I'm all looking good, and then whammo, here comes another 10 grand for upgrades required to meet that. So finding out that as early as you can is really important.
And
If you
Darren, it can cost that much. Just for people wondering, well, how
yeah,
much can this cost me? It can cost 5 to 15 grand. Would that be
yep,
fair?
good ballpark,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that'll depend on size of home and the individual requirements that come out of the actual testing.
Yeah, how close it is, yeah.
Correct. If you modify windows, facades, and roof styles, ask your builder to confirm if it's going to actually still comply. So getting an understanding from your builder about, if I'm doing this, if I'm putting a whopping big window on the front of my house, well, then that's going to let more noise in. So is it now going to comply? Is it double glazed already? Are there other things I need to do? It may well be you can't even have that big window. You might have to reduce that and go back to brickwork or back to potentially Hebel to help yourself in that. Your building surveyor must sign off on the acoustic design before a building permit can be issued. So you can't put the cart ahead of the horse, I guess, in respect to that. So that there'll be the report. The report will say you need to do these specific things. Those specific things will be noted on the plans and specifications, and then that's all signed off as part of getting a building permit. Yes, it will come at a cost, and because I guess the upshot of this is, Colin, that it does improve the comfort of the home, right? So if you're in a home and it's funny because you might be in the street or two that are nearest to whatever's creating the noise. Let's say it's a train line, right? So you might be in that street directly opposite the train line, and the guy's in the next street and he's 2 houses away. So not your next door neighbour over your back fence, but on the other side of the road. He may not need to do anything. And then your house, because it's got this additional sound barrier, is really quiet on the inside. And the house that's a street and a half away is actually quite loud because the sound still travels. So, it can add value to your home if it's done well and it's sold well, and given that comparison. And, ideally, if you're looking to sell a home with that sort of stuff, let someone come in when there's a train going past and see how little noise actually gets in. And they go, actually, it's actually really good, So, yeah, be mindful of that. And I guess consider it a bit like double glazing in cool climates. It's a small upfront cost, but there's a massive lifestyle benefit. So the upshot is your house is going to be a lot quieter on the inside, which I'm sure most people really like. Talk to us about some of the, or maybe feel free to throw some questions. What are some of the questions we see along the way, Colin?
Yes, I'll just jet some questions to you, Dazza. So can I remove the acoustic items to save some cashola?
We'd love to say yes, but unfortunately the answer is no. Compliance is mandatory where it's required.
So all homes near main roads actually require acoustic upgrades?
No, and that's an interesting one. So again, as part of the planning permit for the estate, there will be acoustic, testing done, and it'll specify to certain areas based on the decibel readings, so the noise level of those. So only those that are formally designated as affected need to be upgraded.
Did you hear my boss, Tracy, in the other room just let go of a massive sneeze?
No, I didn't. Not at all. There
That's
you
not
go.
a question we had scripted, but I
But
nearly just
the
lost my
insulation in
marbles.
that wall behind you is pretty
Yeah,
bloody good.
I think I thought it was shaking. It was that loud. Like, that's funny.
Did not hear it.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad you didn't hear it. It means everyone else probably didn't, and they're thinking, "What's this guy talking about?" But hey, if you're ever wondering how much we edit these episodes, well, now you know we don't. Probably the start and the end. That's about it. Sorry, I got off track, Darren. Will my house still be noisy if I have acoustic stuff put in?
Basically, if you've met the specification, then the internal noise would be really minimal.
Makes sense. That's the point, isn't it? Will
Absolutely.
it decrease the quality of the house at all?
No, actually, probably the opposite, Cole. And these days, things like double glazing is included in a lot of homes. Previously, it wasn't. So, you'd end up with double glazing, often a heavier front door, some additional insulation. All those things are adding value to your home and adding quality to your home, really. So, I think from that perspective, you're actually getting a nicer home.
This is an important question. If I buy a block of land in an acoustic affected area, will the block of land actually be cheaper than the ones that are down the street that are not affected?
Often the developers realize that these are because of these overlays, and people get a little bit scared because they hear bad stories about them, and there's not really. If you meet the requirements, away you go. But developers will often discount that lot by about the cost of what they think it'll be. So you might get a $5, $10, $15,000 discount off that block of land because it's in a new acoustic overlay area. So, and they'll usually be able to provide you some information, a fact sheet, a bit about dealing with this in your estate when you're talking to the builders. So they'll go out of their way to try and help you, and often give you a bit of a discount on the block as well, which is fantastic. I guess where you don't get that discount is generally on resale lots if they're not telling you about it. So they'll try and hide the fact that that's the case. And that's one of the reasons why buying direct from the developer is really, really good, because they'll want to tell you and they'll give you fact sheets and they'll go through and help you through that process. So, yeah,
A little
there it
bit
is.
safer. Yeah. Nice. Well said. So hopefully everyone, you, I guess, got some info from that. We want to share that we've started a school community. That's SKOOL. Go to that, Google school, and then type in Home Building Hub. Come and join us. It's a brand new community. Only a few members to kick off, but we're trying to get as many people in there as we can to help you, the home buyer. So in there will be links to this podcast, but most importantly, there's going to be a home building hub. There's an ultimate guide there, 40 odd pages of start to finish to help you out completely free. There's some webinars in there, so we'll be screen sharing. There's some tools and checklists and templates you can use. It's all there to help people, independent, objective, no builder bashing, but no sales or anything like that, no sales pitches. It's really there to help you navigate through the process. And ideally, Darren, we want people to share their journeys. Post
Absolutely.
the photos. You can share your journey, and people can follow you. And we can, you can give some inspiration. You can get some inspiration. I think that's going to be really cool in the, I guess, the next 12 months as we build it up.
I think if you're wanting answers to some questions, put them in there. There'll be members of the community that'll be able to help answer those. Again, we're very Victorian centric. We're hoping to get some interstate members that'll be able to help answer some interstate questions that we may not have the answers to. So, it's going to be a really great place to be able to, answer all your questions to building the information we already provide, but also from other people within the community that'll be able to help out in that fashion as well.
Some experts is the idea. Yeah. So awesome. Well, thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for those watching as well. And we will look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Thanks. Bye.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the Home Building Hub. As part of the podcast, we have to be a little careful to cover ourselves on a legal standpoint. So we do have a disclaimer. Whilst we're all about providing value to you, this podcast should not be considered legal or financial advice. It does contain general information only, and you should seek out independent professional advice on your own personal situation before you make any legal or financial decisions.
1,